thank you everyone for staying back for our final session today. And thank you so much, Manushi, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone.
This is a very, very special conversation. We all know you as a girl who won the Miss World crown for India after 17 long years. But in addition to that, you are a medical student.
I was.
And you're a very successful actor and the founder of two very different and highly competitive brands. So,
Yes.
right. So, I mean, it has been an unusual, but a very, very exciting journey, right? I don't know if many people know this, but before Dweep, you launched Soma Wellness with your dad, right? So, both the brands are in two very distinct fields. I just want to pick your brain on in your career journey. When did you think that entrepreneurship is something you want to explore?
See, I was a very funny child growing up. And, like how parents, they put this in your head that you can do whatever you want to do. So I think the courage to take risks was something which I had since I was a child. And I always had my feet in many, many boats. I think I always knew that I wanted to do many things and not just put all my eggs in one basket in life. That's something I knew as a child. I knew since childhood. I was studying to be a doctor. I wanted to become a doctor like my parents. But that's essentially what an entrepreneur also does. You take a risk, you have an idea, and then follow you follow through with it. I mean, even if I look at actors, in a way, we all are selling a perception of ourselves. So we are entrepreneurs at the core. So that mindset is something I grew up with and I always had. And to be honest, this is going to sound like a paradox, but I've always been someone who's looked at my life as a very short span compared to the age of the universe. We're here for like a split second. But at the same time, you have 24 hours, each hour has 60 minutes, each minute has 60 seconds. So then I'm like, there's so much I can do. But life's also short. So I want to try many, many things. I always wanted to try many things. And I think, yeah, that's just what I grew up with. And today I feel very fortunate that I have the opportunity to try what I want to try. I think for most people, either there's fear or there's not as much exposure. But with Miss World, I got that platform, and coincidentally, Soma and Dweep have happened around the same time, but this timeline was not supposed to match.
Well, just hearing you talking about and sharing your thought process, it's so motivating. And I remember our first conversation, and you were sharing
On the phone.
Yes, you were talking about Dweep, and you talk about the brand with so much passion and belief.
But Pallavi, I'll tell you one thing. This was meant to happen because I do not pick up unknown numbers, and it was just that one-off time when I was like, okay, let me just see who's calling. So this was meant to be.
Yeah, this was meant to be. I would note on that. So yeah, about Dweep, you talked about the brand with so much passion, and as a consumer or as someone who follows you, I see Dweep as a reflection of the responsibility which comes with being a known face or having influence on the audience. So if you can just take us back to the first conversation or the first thought in your mind when you decided to do something like Dweep.
See, having responsibility and having a sense of purpose is something which has become a way of life, especially through the way I've been brought up, through the profession I was planning to pursue, through Miss World. And even today, if I have this platform and I can speak, and there are so many lovely people here listening to me, I know that there's a certain power and that comes with a certain responsibility. So, what beyond just making a brand? It just, that was the thought. We had a very long journey. We decided to do this in August 2021, so 2.5 years ago, actually more than 2.5 years ago. And at that time, my stylist Shifa and I, we used to always have this discussion that we do not have good swimwear in India. Like, we do have we do have fast fashion, but we don't have something which where the quality and the fit is good. And this is not for Indian body type. We have such a diverse range of body types in India, and most of the swimwear, the countries where they are manufactured, are very different bodies. So the sizing is different, the fit would be different. And we are both beach bums. She's a certified diver. I love being on the beach. And every time I'd go to her, I'd be like, I want to buy swimsuits. I've also traveled a lot since childhood. India has some lovely beach destinations. So while I was traveling, I was picking up a lot of swimwear outside of India. But within India, I didn't find that one brand. Either you spend a lot on designers or you have fast fashion. There's nothing in between where there's a good quality, there's good value for what you are paying, but it's not as expensive. At the same time, because it's a certain standard, it is a bit more. So that middle sweet spot is what we decided very early, that this is what we want to do. At the same time, see, Indian beaches, we do, different body types. Our brand is inclusive. That was something which we very early decided on. She's also a personal shopper for a lot of women. So she'd say that I find it very difficult to find swimwear that fits really well. So that was another thing that we had in our mind. The third and most important thing was, what beyond this? Okay, so we should have swimwear that fits well, feels good. You're on a beach, you need to feel comfortable if you're having fun. I have some of the best memories from my trips, to whether it's to Goa, to the Andamans. So if I'm running or I'm snorkeling, I don't want to be uncomfortable. So it's something so intimate. That was the idea. And of course, we have to marry that idea into having cover-ups, having things that you can wear over it. Because, I mean, a lot of beaches, I would not be comfortable just walking around in a swimsuit. I mean, I think I'm confident, but, I think that's a comfort that we wanted to provide people with. So we saw a lack of just having good cover-ups and having good swimsuits. But then when we decided, we narrowed down on, we found manufacturers. We decided we had to figure out exactly where what gets made where do the fabrics come from, which are the best places where you can get it stitched. When we were discussing all of this, we came across fabrics that were made out of recycled ocean nets, fishing nets. And that gave us the idea that what beyond, what are we doing beyond just this one need that we felt? And it was the fact that that's it. We need to go sustainable. We need to be responsible. We love the ocean. If we have such beautiful memories from beaches, then what is it that we are doing to give back? And that's where the idea of a sustainable brand came. Yes, there was a lot of debate. That's why it took 2.5 years for us to put everything together, because we went through loads of samples. We had to get the sizing right. And I have to say this, we are so happy because we've gotten such a good feedback from all the women who've bought from us, even men who've bought for their girlfriends or their wives. We've gotten some really good feedback on the fit, the feel, how it is after washing. So that's somewhere which, that's something that we are really proud of. We're only a month old, but it took us time simply because we wanted to get the product right. And it is challenging to get something which looks good, which you can kind of, end of the day, we do want it to be fashion forward. But at the same time, bringing sustainable materials into the stretch of what a swimsuit needs. So that took us a bit of time, but I think I'm glad we've had a lovely launch. I think we're quite touchwood happy with how things are right now.
Wonderful. And as a consumer, the designs are really good.
Thank you.
And I like to share
We're
this.
also inclusive, huh? And we've gotten some really good feedback on our plus sizes.
And I'd like to share this with you. Just a while back, we had a panel discussion here which focused on sustainability. And our audience is so enthusiastic about it. I mean, it's not just a buzzword, it's actually a consumer demand. So I think you're launching a brand for India, made in India, and sustainable for the future.
I mean, hence the name Dweep. We wanted it. We sat for a very long time thinking about what should we call it. We were like, oh, we should just call it Beach Bums. We want it to be fun. We want people to feel happy when they look at the pictures, and they should feel happy when they have to go, with their families on a beach vacation. Very common term. So of course we couldn't get that. We couldn't get that name, but We were sitting, and it's so funny because there are three of us co-founders. There's me, my stylist Shifa, and there's a third individual called Aman. He's the one who keeps bringing us back on earth. He's like, guys, don't go too creative. We need to make money at the end of this. We cannot just venture too much here and there. So it's so funny that the name actually came from Aman, where we were sitting and we were like, what is it? And I said, it should be something that has to be Indian. This is, how many swimwear brands would you expect to come out of India? And it is for Indian women. It is for our beaches. We have one of the longest coastlines. What is it that will sound Indian, but even a French person can pronounce or can speak? And suddenly he's like, hey, you know what's island called in Hindi? Dweep, na? Lakshadweep. Oh, let's just do Dweep. And that's how it came. And we're like, perfect. We have a name. We have Dweep. And, you can play with it. It could sound like it's from anywhere in the world, but it's such a local, it's such an Indian word. And that's what we want. We want people to, the minute they see the brand, to see that this is a premium brand. This is something which, of course, is sustainable. It's fashion forward, but at the same time, it's rooted in India.
It's Indian.
It's Indian.
Yes. Wonderful. And it comes from the pride of India. So, absolutely. Manushi, you have been associated with so many global brands. And like I was sharing with you just outside, when we as consumers look at you being associated with a brand, we can sort of associate ourselves with them. And that's why, they're trying to that's how they're trying to tap the Indian audience. How would you want Dweep's consumer to think about the brand, to feel about the brand 3 to 5 years down the line?
See, we want women to feel good about themselves. And that's why we want our swimwear to be something that they're comfortable in, that feels good, that looks good. We have cover-ups, we have beach dresses that you can wear over this. So we want an entire look that, yes, you don't need to get a stylist to style you. I have the luxury of getting a stylist if I'm going somewhere and I have to post a picture. But this is a brand which has been made by a celebrity and a stylist who've put together these looks so that you can buy an entire set. You can buy your swimwear, you can buy your cover-ups, your dresses, everything. Have that entire look when you go for your vacation. That's the first thing. The second thing we want, like I said, we want people to look at this brand and remember that this is a swimwear brand that is from India, which we've taken to the world.
Got it. Coming to your other venture, Soma Wellness, it's a completely different field. And we all know that medicine is very close to your heart, right?
Yes. It's every dinner table discussion in my family. Both my parents are doctors. My uncles, aunts, I come from a family of doctors. My parents were very happy when I was studying to be one. I have two siblings. Both of them are not doctors. My sister's a lawyer. My brother's studying finance. And when I decided to leave medicine and pursue my career here in Mumbai, I think there was this whole feeling of, damn, this me leaving behind something I so passionately felt for. Healthcare is my first love. It'll always be my first love. But Soma is something which I'm actually very happy to talk about. And this is the first time I'm talking about it. I've grown up. I've grown up with every conversation in our family in some way or the other go towards healthcare. What's going on in healthcare? What's the latest development? Who's doing what? What's the latest research? Now, both my parents were doctors and both of them were my father was working for the Ministry of Defense in DRDO. So he had a research side and he used to also practice. He's done general medicine. And my mother was more into into research. She was working in a neurochemistry department. She was heading that department for the Delhi government. So so basically, I in college thought I'll become a surgeon because I'm artistic. I think I was very good at, skinning dead people in anatomy. I thought, I'm very good with the scalpel. I might as well go into surgery. But when I traveled as Miss World, I was introduced to the concept of regenerative medicine. And although it is being practiced in certain forms in our country, but we are still way behind. There are a lot of therapies that I know people would travel to a Germany or a USA or a London to get, which we've now brought to Bombay. And I'm not saying this because he's my father, but he is the best doctor in the world. I have never seen anyone who's been better at doing what they do. And he genuinely inspires me every day. So when I was traveling as Miss World, I realized that this is a great field and I was genuinely interested in it because it works on your body's ability to repair any sort of, whether it could be a wound or it could be aging, or it could be a disease or even a congenital defect. So that concept is also very new. So the one challenge we face is the fact that to explain this whole concept of regenerative medicine to people, because we've grown up with a very traditional form of medicine. So that was the first thing. And the second thing was to even talk to my father about the fact that this is great, this is something that I thought I wanted to do after coming back. Life had other plans, but I was like, hey, I know someone who's already practicing this, and I know someone who's, of course, been a part of so much research that the Ministry of Defense has done in this field. Why not do this together? So it took me 4 years of convincing to tell him that, Dad, let's do this together. Again, acting has enabled me to be able to invest and take that risk. I said, let me do this. And we kind of did this joint venture. We also realized that when 4 years ago the world was going through a global pandemic, the whole debate around taking care of one's immunity, recovering from things like long COVID or the long lasting effects of having a certain disease. So all of these debates and discussions were going on. And again, I was introduced to a certain circle in Bombay, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. It was the whole billionaire circle over there where they had a lot of time. They had a lot of money and they had a lot of exposure, but they had no time to take care of their own health. And so they were like, what is that one shortcut? If we can have someone who would tell us what to eat, what therapies we can do, how to figure out how to increase the efficiency of what our body can do. How can we go towards super health? So these were the discussions that I was a part of, and I said, hey, this is a great space that we can get into. This is what my father was doing. So I told him, what, I feel we should definitely start something in this, in regenerative medicine, whether it's with for athletes to increase their performance, whether it's for people who want to prevent a certain disease, people who want to cure themselves from lifestyle disorders. I mean, I for 6 years used to take thyroxine because I had certain antibodies which in my childhood caused me to become to have hypothyroidism, and today I don't. And then the only person who treated me was my dad. So I said, I know how great you are. I'm willing to invest in this. You have so much confidence. And he's someone who's always been learning. So I said, you have so much confidence in your craft and in your field. Why don't we do this together? And so that's how Soma was born. And he is in his late 50s. It takes a lot of courage to start something new at that age. And I really look up to him for that.
Wonderful. And, like I said, you talk about the initiatives with so attention to detail and belief. I think the two great
There's
qualities.
also one thing that a very common thing that I noticed was the fact that most people spend their lives trying to earn money, but when they have money, now they want to increase the span of their life because they want to be able to enjoy that money. So we also do anti-aging. So anyone who wants to try us out, we are Soma Wellness, and we are here in Mumbai, and we do a lot of therapies that you will not get anywhere else in India.
Manushi, you're a true entrepreneur, marketing.
I'm a salesperson. I'm a spokesperson.
This brings me to a very important question for us as your audience. We know you as the actor. We know you as the Miss World.
Yes.
How are you in the boardroom?
Very talkative, like I am right now. In fact, if I were to talk about Dweep, I balance out my other two co-founders. Like I said, Aman is more practical. He's very traditional in the sense he's bringing us back on earth, and he's like, no guys, we can't like over invest here and we can't do that. And then Shifa is the creative person who's always trying to go over budget. So I think I kind of balance them out. And so I'm very talkative, but I'm also, I think I'm quite, I'll give myself the credit for being a balance.
I think that's the most important part. That's true.
I think I'm practical enough. I also started working at a very young age.
So, like any other journey, Manushi, what has been the biggest learning and the challenge of being an entrepreneur?
Every step is a challenge. It looks easy, it's not. Nothing about it is easy. I think right from starting to launching and after launching, that you can never think that okay, अब मैं बैठ के आराम करूंगी. वो कभी होता नहीं है, which is also fine. But we are very young. We've only been around for a month. I'd say the big challenge that I see in the future is the fact that we are sustainable. So I guess now we're trying to figure out scalability in that segment. You know, we aren't fast fashion, we are slow fashion, and we are sustainable. There is a space. It's very niche, but right now the whole debate is around scalability. Eventually,
I think this will become a very interesting conversation 1 year down the line when you'll have some exciting numbers to share with us on scalability.
well, I have been strictly instructed by my co-founders: do not speak numbers. You might have potential investors over there. Do not give numbers right now. I said okay.
Just one last question, Manushi. You've had very humble beginnings,
Yes.
you know, and like me, I think a lot of people have been inspired by your journey. You have achieved several feats. To a 20-year-old girl out there, what would be that one piece of advice that you would give your 20-year-old self?
Well, if I were to look back at when I was 20, there's only one thing that I had, which was confidence. And I genuinely never thought, what if I can't do this? The day I entered the audition of Miss India, my goal already was to win Miss World. My goal was never to be Miss India, which is very funny. It's not something that I planned. It just always was. And my only advice to anyone who's 20, who's young, and they're starting out in life, I'd say that just be confident and just don't be scared to take risks. That's the best age to do whatever, because you can absorb so much, so many ups and downs that might happen. I think that's a good age, and it's good to go through different phases, because today I know I am a result of my entire journey and my entire experience, and the amount of pride that comes when you know that you've done it on your own, and you've learned. You know, the growth is a lot more. And your experiences really, really help you reach a certain kind of maturity. So my only thing is, don't be scared, and don't listen to people if they think you can't do it. I have had many people in my life who thought I was very silly for pursuing whatever I was, but today it's paying me in my life, and I think I would not live my life any other way. So I will continue taking risks, and I will continue trying different things, because life is short and you need to live your life for yourself, not for others. Like I said, life is short, but there's so much to experience. So I want to experience whatever I can. I want to try whatever I can. I want to learn as much as I can. I do not want to confine myself to the bracket of just being one entity. I don't want to just be an actor. I never wanted to just be a doctor or any of that. I think I want to be. I want to try different things, and I've grown because of that in life, and that's taught me the most. All the experiences that I've had. So that's my advice that I'd give to all people: that just don't be afraid to try, take risks, and genuinely believe in yourself. Be confident. You don't have to listen to what anyone else has to say about your life.
Wonderful. I think this will be the biggest takeaway for me, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, since you're here and we had this fabulous conversation right here, I think it's time for a fun segment as well. We had some beautiful insights from you. So, are you ready for that rapid fire? It's time for a rapid fire. It's time to brace yourself up. And of course, the rapid fire has to be rapid and quick. So, are you ready? Yes?
I mean, I wasn't, but I have no choice. I'm here now.
Okay. So, my first question to you is that what is the craziest rumor that you have heard about yourself?
There are so many. There was this rumor, oh my God, that's on the top of my head. There was this rumor that I was living with someone, which was very strange because they were in Bangalore, I was in Bombay, and it doesn't make sense. How can you live together? But yeah, I live with my parents, guys, and I'm an Indian girl. It was very funny to us. Thank God I live with my parents, so they didn't believe it.
Well, I think, yes, definitely that is the craziest rumor. Okay, so my next question is that if you assign a superpower to yourself, what would that be and why?
I think read people's minds. I find that quite interesting, quite intriguing. Sometimes I wish I could just read what's in the other person's head. Like I'm right now just wondering while I was answering, I wanted to read it, what was going on in everyone's heads right now. So yeah.
All right. Okay, so which is that emoji that describes you the best? One emoji.
One emoji. I'd like to say, oh God, I'd like to say probably because I laughed like a horse right now, probably the emoji with the grin and the teeth.
All right, thank you. So, given a chance to be someone else for a day, who would that personality be and why?
I can't think of anyone. I'm very happy being myself. Actually, no one.
All right, my now last two questions for you is that give me one word for Dweep. One
One
word.
word for Dweep. I think sustainable would be Indian. Sustainable. I've given you two.
Lovely. And my last question is one word for Shop Forward Summit 2024 and our gracious audience here.
I would love to say fun, but guys, you can also clap for me. Thank you so much.
A round of applause.
Fun.
Thank you so very much, Manushi. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you. No problem. Thank you. A round of applause one more time, ladies and gentlemen.